It's time for the Lavish Biker Podcast, powered by Lavish T. Williams. It's the dopest, realest podcast in the nation. We talk about everything biker related with no filter. This show ain't for the weak, insecure suckers in their feelings. This show is for the real ones. Thank you and everyone for tuning in, and make sure to add, like, follow, and subscribe at Lavish T. Williams on all social and streaming platforms. And now, let's get into the Lavish Biker Podcast with your hosts, Lavish T. Williams and Pedro.
Hey, what up, though? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Lavish Biker Podcast. You tuned in. It's better late than never. We are here. We always say 8-ish. We just running very ish tonight. But it's all good. It's all good, man. So listen, check this out. First off, want to give a shout out to Sean Watts. That's where we podcast our wonderful podcast at Watts Audio over in Farmington Hills on Grand River in 8 Mile. Or should I say, let me reverse that. On 8 Mile off of Grand River is where we live stream our podcast at, man. So shout out to Sean Watson. If you're looking for some custom audio for your motorcycles, this is the place to be. Sean Watts can get it together, and he got deals, and he got specials, and he got plans.
Yes, he does.
For everybody's budget. So, you know, if you want to get a sound system on your bike, you know, hit them up. And if you're not in the Detroit area, the Wayne County, Oakland County area, you also can go out further, the Waterford, Pontiac area. He has a second location out there as well for motorcycle audio. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to get this show started. We got a special guest in the house. Very, very, very special.
Introduction is long,
you know, it's the introduction is so long that I can't even say it. You know, she's going to have to say everything, and then we doing. You know, it's the beginning of the year, man, and so far we have pretty much had all men on the show. So we're doing it. And we gotta still send shots out to the ladies, because there's a lot of women out here. They doing a lot of great things out here in the motorcycle world, around the motorcycle world, past and present. So I want to bring this young lady onto the show. She really needs no introduction. Man. She really doesn't. But we're gonna give it to her, man. We got Miss Sunshine Rogers chiming in. She's on the podcast.
Yes. Yeah. Standing ovation. Standing ovation and all that.
Thank you.
Oh man, listen, Sunshine, before we get started, man, can you do one thing? Can you say good morning?
Of course.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
Song. Normally I sing the whole song, you know.
Hey, we got time. We got time.
Hey, do your thing.
First, good morning, good morning, good morning to you. Good morning, good morning, good morning to you. Today is a new day. There's so much that we have got to do. Good morning, good morning to you. Hey, yeah.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, what's happening? What's happening, man? I'm glad to have you chimed in on the podcast. You know, it's been a long time coming, and I know that you are full of life, full of energy, and full of experience and knowledge. And I mean, you got a journey. You got a journey. You done been around. You done a lot. You done seen a lot. So we got a lot to talk about with you on the podcast tonight. You know, first off, for the individuals that do not know who you are, because we constantly have new people year after year joining the bike world, so they don't really know who you might be, and then you got other people that know exactly who you are. So could you tell all of the people that's out there that's listening that might not know who you are, can you give them a little bit of background, a brief introduction of you and yourself?
Okay, a brief introduction. My biker name was Sunshine Rogers. My I was actually born Latricia Leonette Frank. I'm from Texas. I'm 58 right now. 58. I have one daughter, and I am married to a minister.
Married
Okay.
to a preacher,
I
huh?
yes, a
Yes.
man of God. Yes.
That's right. That's right.
And I rode y'all for about 20 years. I've taught public school 16 years. Um I've been employed with three different contractors over in Afghanistan for about a 10-year stretch. What else have I done?
All of it.
I've done a lot. Done a lot.
That's right.
Yeah.
So listen, I want to talk to you about this motorcycle stuff,
Okay.
because that's where I learned about you from, the motorcycle set. And it's not just because you was a individual that had a motorcycle, it's because of the things that you were doing. You accomplished a lot, and you've done a lot, and you've seen a lot. What made you interested in motorcycles and being the biker that you were once?
Truthfully, as a young girl, I had an uncle that was from Lake Charles, Louisiana. Him and my aunt. Well, my uncle had a Harley, and as a little girl, I would get so excited. I had to been about probably about 4 or 5 when he would come to our house. I would always remember the sound of them pipes on his Harley, and I just remember growing up. I've always liked motorcycles. I had an uncle on my mother's side; she had one, and my brothers they all had mini bikes. My daughter went off to college in like she went off to college in '08. But prior to her going off to college, we used to go get our nails and feet done all the time. And so anyway, I was telling my daughter, I said, come on, we gotta go get our nails and our feet done. So yeah, one day my daughter, she was like, Mama, I'm gonna go do something with my friends. She said, you need to go do something, find you some friends and go do something with. And y'all, I lie not. That was the moment I realized I didn't have any friends. So I ended up buying a motorcycle just to give me something to do.
Now, how long? When
Really?
did you get your first motorcycle?
I actually, and a lot of people don't know this, uh, my first motorcycle was actually a 2003 Sportster 1200. And and y'all, let me tell you what happened. I went to the dealership to get a bike. I knew I was gonna buy a bike that day. I just didn't know what kind. So yeah, I was just walking around the dealership, and I lie not, all of the salesmen there, they just, looked at me. Nobody said anything to me. And finally this black guy came up. He said, excuse me, ma'am, have anybody helped you? I said, no. And he said, well, you know what? I'm helping a customer right now. He said, but give me about 5 minutes and I'll help you. So y'all, I'm gonna tell y'all something. I didn't know anything about motorcycles. I just told him I wanted to buy a bike. So he was like, well, and he showed me, all the big bikes, and then he showed me these Sportsters. And he said, well, since is your first bike, why don't you just, try with a small bike? I said, okay, no problem. So y'all, I got that 1200 Sportster, and I actually kept it for about 17 days. Now listen to this story.
All right.
Within that 17 days, y'all, I had rode with one of my biker friends, um, Aldo. And we actually rode up to some events on the north side of Texas. And then y'all, the following weekend, the Hard Riders, which is one of the
Oh,
older
yeah.
biker clubs here. All well, it used to be all male, but they got some females in there. Miss Joe, she in there still. But y'all, anyway, I rode with them to Austin, Texas that weekend. So y'all, I'm on my little sports, and y'all, about 8 of us was on sports back then. And so y'all, I'm just zooming around the corner, zoom, 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 zoom. So yeah, when we got back on our way coming back, three of the hard riders caught me on side of a gas station, and they was like, "Sunshine, why you buy that little bitty bike?" I said, "What you mean? Why I buy this little bitty bike?" And they said, "Yeah, why you buy that little bitty bike?" I said, "It's my first bike." They said, "No, Sunshine, let me tell you right now, you need to go take that bike back and tell them you need a big bike, because we've been watching you the whole trip. We know you're gonna like to ride." And y'all, that was the moment I took what the hard riders told me that Sunday on our way back from Austin. And y'all, that Monday, I had the nerve to take that little 1200 Sportster right on back to the Harley dealership. And I walked in there and I said, I need to trade this in for a big bike. So the man was like, "Man, what do you mean you need to trade? You just bought that bike 2 weeks ago." I said, "Yeah, but I rode out of town with my friend, the hard riders, and they told me this bike is too little for me." And "Well, ma'am, I'm sorry. We just don't, you just can't do it like that." I said, "Well, I'm telling y'all now, I don't want this motorcycle. I got to give me a big bike." So I'm gonna tell y'all what I did. I actually went to 3 different Harley dealerships within that weekend and made them bid for my business. So that's how I ended up getting a Fat Boy the exact same day. So what they did was they sold my Sportster to another young lady that had just walked in the door, and she wanted her first bike. So yeah, that's how I ended up with a Fat Boy and a Sportster within 17 days of each other.
Mm-mm.
Okay, shout out to the hard riders too, Shannon and all them, man. Them
Oh
my
yeah,
dudes, man.
and Shannon was one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, them my guys, man.
Yeah, no,
Uh-huh.
Hard
that's
riders, man.
cool. That's a good story. So you already hit the gate within days. You on the highway riding out just like that.
Within 17 days. And I'm gonna tell you another reason they didn't want the bike back, because they was like, "This bike has 1,300 miles on it, and you've only had it for 2 weeks." And I said, "Well, I can't help it. I went on 2 long trips with some of my friends." So they just couldn't believe I had put 1,300 miles on a 1,200 Sports in 2 weeks. But they
Oh
ended up,
man,
Sure, there's some guys around here don't got 1,300 miles the whole
the
summer.
whole season.
yeah. But, that's how it
Man.
started. That is really how it started.
Now, as you progressed in the bike world and around the motorcycle, getting more comfortable with your bike, I know based off of older pictures I seen and then the pictures that you sent me today, where did this whole suicide shifter thing come from? Because you kept
First,
them on your bike, so
Yeah.
well, we
I,
got to talk about that. We got to talk about it.
I've actually had 10 Harleys. I've actually owned 10 Harleys. All of them was in my name. Of those 10 Harleys, I put the suicide shift on 4 of them. Um, and I'm gonna tell you where it came from. I was riding with a group out of Louisiana one weekend, out of Lafayette, Louisiana, and it was a man in front of me. He kept hitting his. I noticed he kept hitting his thigh. Every time we turn a corner, I see him. He hitting his thigh. So y'all, when we got to the place where we were going, I said, "Excuse me, sir." I said, "But why you keep hitting your thigh? While you riding your motorcycle?" He said, "I'm shifting my gears." I said, "What you mean you shifting your gears?" And y'all, he had this little knob that he had made a little gear shift. So I said, "Well, I wonder, can I do that?" And he was like, "Yeah, hold on, hold on, hold on."
We holding on.
Okay, y'all, I'm back. I'm back. So yeah, I
Okay.
went to shifter to show y'all.
She went to go get the shifter.
Yeah.
I,
She
I
went
Okay.
to
started
go get the shifter.
Now, this
Yeah.
is the actual shifter, the very first shifter I put on that '04 Fat Boy. So, y'all, the man, he showed me how they had this ball behind his leg, and he said, "Yeah, and what they'll do is they'll put it on there for you, and you just keep shifting like this here." And I said, "Well, what am I going, where my clutch going to be?" He said, "This where your clutch going to be, down here on your foot." And I was like, "Well, I ain't going to be able to put my foot down." He said, "That's one reason why they call it suicide shifter."
so
So
so so let me ask you this. Let me go back. Run this whole suicide shifter thing again. How do you engage the clutch? That's not with your foot. That's with the shifter.
no, my clutch, and I'm gonna tell you the truth. The guy put my clutch on there backwards. Most people that ride a suicide shifter, their clutches on there would be on their left toe. But the guy who put mine on, he put it on backwards. So my clutch was on my heel. My clutch has never been on my toe. So I've always shifted with my clutch on my left heel. And this ball went behind my left hand, which was behind my thigh.
Mm.
So what you do is you give your bike gas with your right hand. You mash on your clutch with your left heel, and you pull on this ball right here with your left hand. And every time you push down on your heel, that's when you can pull this ball back. If you don't push down with your heel, you can't pull this ball back.
Okay. You learn something new every day. I mean, at least for me with that suicide shifter, I seen them, but I never entertained the thought to really just ask about them. I just seen them and thought they just kind of look cool, but they always be
So
like on those retro style bikes.
it's and to me it was a straight adrenaline rush. Matter of fact, I used to love the downshift because the action is just the opposite. You hitting your heel, I hit my left heel, and then you got to you pull the ball back up to you, and you it actually hit underneath your thigh with it. And y'all always liked fishtail pipes, so you could hear that. You could hear that. You could just feel that pressure pulling back through them pipes. And just this whole little combination, yeah, it was just straight adrenaline. And see, y'all, I've never drink. I don't smoke. I don't do no drugs, no highs, no nothing. So y'all, the whole time I've been on this bike set, that has been my high right there. Riding that suicide shifter, straight adrenaline.
Straight adrenaline. Now I noticed, and I want to make a mention of this because I noticed that you said out of all the 10 bikes that you had, you made it your duty to say you had all 10 bikes. You had 10 bikes, and they all been in your name.
Correct.
Now, and I say that, and the reason I say that is she made mention to state that.
Yeah.
Now, and I know you've been around, Sunshine, and I know you didn't seen
it all.
I know you didn't heard.
Yes, I have.
I know you didn't watched. But, and I'm only making reference because somebody out there that's listening, it might go somewhere. It might hit home for them. Is there any particular reason outside of being an adult why you had all 10 bikes all in your name? I mean, outside of that's just the responsible adult thing to do, but other people might have different situations, circumstances, and underprivileged. So, you making that statement, it's not a bad thing.
Well, I've seen too many people accept gifts from people, and the gifts are in somebody else's name. Now, whether you're receiving a gift from someone or whether somebody is helping you make your payments, the bottom line is whatever you is in your possession needs to be in your name.
Okay.
Speak on it. That's right.
Yeah.
And that was, I say that because somebody might need to hear that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody might need to hear that. You just never know what a person currently might be going through.
Bad credit, or you think you can't get something in your name, you can get it in your name. You just got to put a little bit more money probably down on it. But that's the worst thing anybody can do is to get something and it's in somebody else's name. Because I've seen friendships, dwindle apart. Next thing you know, the bike got to go because the friendship went. I've seen relationships, I've seen marriages break up. And, the one way I'm going to get back at you is I'm going to take that bike back because it's in my name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're gonna take that bike back. You
for sure.
Oh yeah,
that's the first thing coming.
Know how to get back at the bike, baby. I'm gonna take it back because it's in my name.
Yeah, they're gonna take that bike back before they take the car back.
Yeah, right. They know that bike. They know that bike is that's his or her passion.
Yeah.
That's right.
We gonna get that bike for sure. No, I just wanted to speak on that only because it was mentioned. Now, along your journey, man, coming out here and you meeting people, you coming out here on the bike set or whatnot. How was it then starting off and then now as far as relationships that you built? And how did you build these relationships and bonds from different people reaching all over the country?
Well, I'm gonna tell y'all how. Well, first of all, y'all, I'm a popular learner. I don't know if any. Let me tell you the definition of that. I know a lot of people, but I hang by myself. Um, And I've been like this all my life. I know a lot of people, but you can't ever say you've seen Sunshine hang with a bunch of people. Not that I have trust issues, but I know what I'm gonna do. I just don't know what you're gonna do. And see,
Okay.
I'm not gonna turn on myself, but I know you'll turn on me. If the money is right, conversations go the other way, you'll probably turn on me. So with that, I mean, I've just learned over the years to basically, be ready to carry my own weight wherever I'm at. So when I started off on the bike set, y'all, first of all, y'all, I rode with nothing but men. I rode with nothing but men. Back when I started riding, there were a few women in here in the Houston area that were riding, but they weren't doing any long distance riding. So I would go out of town with the men from down here in the Galveston County area. I did a lot of out of town trips, mainly with. I started off doing a lot of out of town trips with this older group out of Houston called United Bikers. Those guys would put me in the middle and be like, "Sunshine, stay right there. We got you." And y'all, I would just go up and down. I mean, I'm talking about Memphis, Tennessee. I'm talking about we would just be everywhere. And so I learned to ride with the guys and just be in the middle. Now, y'all, I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. And even back then, even being a woman around all these men, I can actually say this: none of the men ever disrespected me. I always have carried myself like a lady, and that's been very, very important. I say that, and if I can share anything with any of the younger ladies out there on the set right now, that's the one thing you want to do. You want to be able to carry yourself like a lady at all times out here. Um,
Preach, preach. Go ahead. Yeah.
See, and I'm about, I've been on weekend trips where I've shared rooms with other men, and I'm the only woman on the trip. But yet still, can't nobody tell you the color of my skin, what kind of pajamas I had on. The guys, they weren't like that. They was strictly, when I say kept me safe, kept me safe. I used to ride with this other group called Bourbon Street right here in Texas City. I went a lot of places with them also. And y'all, again, I rode with a bunch of men, and I've never had any problems with none of them, not one. Um, and even those that had wives, I knew they had wives, and I'm gonna be respectful to their wives. But y'all, back then wasn't no women going up and down the highway that I knew of. So I rode a lot with the men. So and that's really how I started my journey, really of riding by myself everywhere I went. And I went really to make friendships. And once I pulled up, it wasn't a matter of, was I gonna meet anybody? I knew I was gonna meet somebody. My phrase back then used to be, "Y'all, all I need is an invite." And
Mm-hmm.
I would have just that, "Hey, Sunshine, we having such and such and such and such." And I ain't gonna lie, y'all, guys would just, they would give me gas money, or some guys would pay for my hotel room. And so back then, that's how I did a lot of my traveling. I didn't spend a lot of money. I just had friends that would pay for my trips and whatnot. So all I needed was the motorcycle, and that was it, and a destination. So and that's really how I started. Just
So
riding with a bunch.
so let me go back. Let me go back because I'm acting and I'm going back to a lot of things that you say because of the person that you are and your journey and how other people can take from what you're saying and apply it to their lives on the bike set or whatnot. You said one about the women and the way that you carry yourself. Do you think the way that these women carry themselves, the guys judge them and act accordingly to the way that these women behave on the bike set?
Course, of course. If you out here and you got your ass all out, and you know you ride up, and boobs all out, what do you think they're gonna do? As opposed to you riding up, with some jeans that's, fully covered. You're not trying to expose yourself. Um, I mean, their reactions is gonna be totally different. But I'm here to tell any lady that's out there, you will get the utmost respect regardless of where you go, who you pull up on, who you pull up with, as long as you've carried yourself appropriately. And y'all, I've done just that.
No, that's great, and I say that because sometimes we as people, um, we look at certain things as, hey, I'm just being me. This is just me. This is what I like to do. I like to dress like this. I like to do that. But then again, you have certain men that look at women and they say, well, I know what a woman should be like and how she should carry herself
Because we do.
over here.
Exactly.
Now, don't get it wrong. Just because we know how we see a woman, how they should carry themselves, on the flip side of that coin, we also see a woman that might not carry themselves in the way that we will hold them high to, but we will still flock to, but we wouldn't hold them to that high expectation. So
Right.
their respect kind of shifts a little bit, because when you got a real respectable woman, you kind of approach with caution.
Exactly. And watch what you say.
You watch what you say.
Yes,
You know,
do.
but
You
then when
definitely
you
do.
have certain women that come a certain way, then you get the guys that say, you know,
Whatever come out
loosed
their
up,
mouth.
right?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Definitely.
listening to you, Sunshine, being that woman, how do you engage in conversation with men, knowing that sometimes men can be men, and meaning sometimes some of the conversations might not be as tasteful for a woman to be around? Is it one of those things where you engage, you kind of, you know, don't entertain that conversation? How do you set that tone?
Well, just like I said, all the years that I wrote, of course, see there different women have a different definition of sexy. Now, me, I think I've always looked very, very sexy and nice and good with my clothes on when I pull up on the bike set. Okay. Now there are some women that feel like, nah, I got to have more skin out in order to feel sexy, in order to, think I look good. So
Mm-hmm.
it's about how a woman perceives herself. And
Right.
fortunately, I'm one of those women. I know I can look good,
In a
and I
suit.
pull up all my clothes on.
Right.
And I realize the men are gonna look at me the same. Like, oh, there goes Sunshine. Look at her. She looking cute. Now what they've said behind my back, I've never had any guy to come up and, and yeah, this is just the truth. In the 20 years of me being out there, I've never had a guy to come up and, be real rough with me, all disrespectful, bitch this, bring that ass over here, you mind up, you know. I've never had a guy, to ever approach me like that. Now you got some people, they see that as that's a compliment. Now me, on the other hand, I don't consider that a compliment. And y'all, there's something about me. There's my spirit, there's my aura. You know, a person can feel me when I walk up, okay? I know you can.
Right.
So you already know what I'm about when I roll up on my bike. You already know. You already know I got my own money. You know I ain't finna get off the bike begging for a drink, begging for buy me nothing to eat. You already know all this about me just by what you feel when I pull up.
Okay.
And yeah, it's the truth
Okay.
about people. Your aura about you tells a lot about you.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I gotta ask. I gotta ask. So now, as we talk about, you know, women being out here in this sport, and I'm not a woman, but I have one on the show. Uh, Dealing with the men outside of the men accepting you. How's your interaction when dealing with other women? You know, being you. Is it more and I hear women talk about women being catty, petty amongst each other. But with your experience, is it more like a welcoming journey for you, where people they want to talk to you about how you do what you've done, you being brave, having courage, or do you get a lot of negative slack from other women because of what you do?
I can honestly say that over the years I haven't had any problems with any women, not me per se. Now I've had some women that have had some problems with me. And and let me tell you what I think it was from. I just think it's because of who I am. To some people, it may seem like I'm bragging or I'm boasting or one thing about me, y'all, I'm not gonna ever make myself little. I'm who I am.
Right.
Um, you know, and so you're gonna have some women that are just gonna dislike you just because you pulled up and you got on a new Harley outfit, or she know you got on these nice ass glasses. Women can be catty about all kind of stuff. But the way I've handled it over the years is the women that I have had a problem with, the way we resolved it is, I kept it moving.
Okay.
I've had a lot of women. I had a few women go behind my back, and y'all remember when? Yeah, and I don't know if y'all remember this, but when I was the president of the Queens of the South, out of that New Orleans chapter, yeah, we had just got vested that weekend, and within 3 days of me getting home, I ended up having to take a butcher knife and cut that Queens of the South uh stuff off my vest and mailed it back to a handful in Florida. And let me tell y'all what I'm getting at. And that was the first time, y'all, I've had 5 women to just come up against me. And I didn't understand why. What have I done to y'all that all 5 of y'all gonna turn against me? And I'm the one I'm the one that rolled to pick the patch up for the club. And now y'all gonna turn against me? Want to put me out? So I'm just gonna say how I handled that particular situation. That's probably one of the worst situations I've ever had on the bike set was with those 5 young ladies. Now to this day, a few of them speak to me. There's one, I don't have any interaction with her at all. But I'm just gonna say this. You can't, I mean, I can't tone down because I like to ride. I can't tone down because I have all this worldly experience behind me. And the one thing I can say, women that I have met that come to find out they don't care for me, it have something to do with me just being who I am. This bubbly personality. I'm happy all the time because I done had my down days. I'll never have those days again because that's how I wake up in the morning. I wake up and I tell myself today is gonna be better than it was on yesterday, in spite of what might happen. But I've ran into those have just been the only couple of times, like I say, I can think of those 5 women that just adamantly turned against me, and I'm talking about turned against me after I done drug their ass all up and down I-10 and all them other interstates. You know, got miles. We got our miles and got our colors, and now all y'all ass gonna turn against me. So,
Yeah.
like I say, after that went down like that, that was it for me. As far as me, trusting and being around a bunch of women, that was it. That
Now
was
I
it.
was gonna ask you, and I was gonna bring it up, but you already brought it up. I was gonna ask you, have you been in a motorcycle club? And if so, how many? Was that your first motorcycle club?
That was actually my third. I Back in the day, I had joined a club out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. It was um an all Harley club. Um, and I'm trying to think of the name of it. They
You done forgot the name of the club you done joined.
hold on. The mother chapter was out of Pensacola, Florida. Um, and I'm gonna think of it, y'all. I'm gonna think of it. But I had joined them only because they were out of Lafayette, Louisiana, and y'all, I wanted somewhere to ride to. So that was one of my first experiences joining a club, um, where I was the only member that was here from Texas. Um, and then there was the Queen of the South, and that was it. was really it.
Okay. Now you joining the club because everybody got their reasons for joining the club. You joining the club, was it just to fellowship with other bikers? Y'all shared the same interests. Um, what was your main focus and goal of joining a club?
Well, really and truly, I was trying to. I was. My hopes was that they would love to ride the way I love to ride. Um, and y'all, I had and I don't know if y'all know this or not, but I'm actually a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. So I
Ski
know about.
wee.
Yeah, I remember. I
I
remember.
know about. I pledged that spring of '88, Texas Southern University, Gamma Psi
Okay.
Chapter, number 27 of 27. Okay, so I know
Go
about sister.
ahead.
I know about,
D9.
yeah. So I know about sisterhood,
Right.
and but one thing I found that I experience is what I want and what another woman want. If we're not on the same page, y'all, it ain't gonna work. I wanted to get a group of women that would love to ride like I want to ride. We just gonna ride, have a good time. We ain't tripping on nothing. But for whatever reason, y'all, it turned out to be more than that. So
Okay.
that particular instance, like I said, I had to cut their stuff off, mail it back to them, and kept riding my motorcycle. So even after that experience, I couldn't allow them to stop me from riding my motorcycle. I mean, hell, I love to ride. So I continued to ride by myself again.
No, that's what you're supposed to do, man. Enjoy that ride. Now,
So,
out of all the
Yeah.
riding that you out of all the riding that that you done, all the places that you'd have been, what's one of your most memorable moments on two wheels?
Um, Probably I'm gonna say the first time I did the 48 uh states. I had talked with back then, y'all. I had talked with Smiley. He was Smiley was over that 48 state thing, the Smiley
yeah.
patch.
Yeah.
And Smiley was riding around, and I was watching him do his thing. I was like, you know what? I think I can do that. I said, I'm gonna try that. So I just started talking to Smiley, and I told him how I wanted to do it, and he was like, Sunshine, I think you can do it. I think you can do it. So I got Smiley to give me some pointers as to, some do's and don'ts of being out there on the highway. And he was like, well, Sunshine, if you decide you want to do it, just let me know. So y'all, I had went through something that summer, and I actually got up one day and I told God, I said, God, I'm ready to change my life. I'm ready to do something different. And y'all, I lie not. God said, well, go get on that motorcycle and go around the United States on it. And so yeah, that was my way. And I'm telling y'all, this is what God told me to do, because that is what he told me to do. So yeah, the first time when I went around on the 48 states, I talked to God every day, and I got on Facebook the next day and I would tell everybody what me and God talked about. And y'all, during this time again, I was rededicating my life to God. I had been through a lot, y'all, and I had just that was that summer, y'all. I had just gotten tired. I was just tired. And I was like, God, I need to change my life. I need to do better, uh, because I know better. I said, but God, I need you to help me. And God was like, okay, you can do that. So I said, well, God, how I'm gonna rededicate my life to you? I'm just gonna ride around and I'm just gonna tell people about you. And God was like, no, the first time you go around, I'm gonna tell you what we're gonna talk about. So yeah, every morning, God would let me know what we were gonna talk about. It took me 21 days to do it the first time I did it. And y'all, I can remember when I when I got ready to do it the second time, I called Smiley up and I let him know I wanted to do it the second time. But the first time, y'all, I left and went to the East Coast, and went from the East Coast and went all the way around to the West. The second time I did, I said, well, Smiley, I'm gonna do it the opposite. I'm gonna go to West Coast and come all the way back around, and come back around from the East. So yeah, the second time I got ready to do it, I did it probably it was within some weeks of each other. But I had came home, y'all. My motor had went out in my fat boy just as I got to California. So I ended up having to buy a new motorcycle. So y'all, I bought a Street Glide. So when I bought the Street Glide, God said, "Yeah, you can go on back out there. But this time when you go out there, I just want you to tell people that I love them." So y'all, I can remember, and I was like, "God, how am I just gonna walk up and tell people that you love them?" And God said, "For one, Latrice, you're gonna be on a Harley. You're gonna get some attention. Every time you get to a gas station and somebody say something to you, you need to let them know that I love them." I was like, "Huh?" So yeah, anyway, this was and I know it's gonna probably be hard for some of y'all to believe, but that's actually how I rededicated my life back to God, and how both of my 48 states, 48 state around. That was the whole purpose, was
Man, that's wonderful.
rebuilding my bond with God. And the second time around, y'all, I took my time. It took me 21 days to do it too. For one, y'all, I wasn't in no rush. I wasn't in no rush. It wasn't no race. The rules were, it just had to be continuous. So
Right.
I would I would stop and socialize with people. Some people would stop and I'd spend the night at their house, or hang out at different parties. But both of them took me 21 days, and that has been my most memorable um trip. Um was both of those, because again, they were directed by God.
Okay.
Okay.
No, that's hey,
That's
everybody has a purpose. And
Oh
and
yeah.
that's wonderful. That you was able to enjoy your trip and worship God at the same time.
and you did it twice, huh? Yeah.
Yeah. I
Two
and it was
times.
but I'm gonna tell y'all, I did it. I was so used to riding by myself, and I've ran across a lot of women that, Sunshine, you so selfish. You don't want to wait on nobody. You don't want nobody to ride with you. It's not that I didn't want anybody to ride with me. It's just that, y'all, excuses are worthless tools used by useless people. Yeah, my daddy taught me that. I had to been about 3 or 4 years old, and it has been embedded in my mind ever since. I'm not full of excuses. Um, so when I'm ready to ride, I'm ready to ride. And I never wanted to be with a bunch of women that's got a bunch of excuses. So that's another reason, y'all, why I've written all these years by myself too.
Hmm.
That's interesting. Now, have you ever done? I mean, have you ever actually done a cross country trip with women at all, or it's just simply been men, or by yourself?
Um, I did one cross country trip. Well, we didn't. I did. Well, yeah, I did east to west with Big Sale and his group.
Okay.
We were in California one year with FHO. I ran with them one year, but I did a south to north trip with um with a group of young ladies, and it turned out to be really nice. It was my first time, ever doing a trip, with a bunch of ladies.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's cool. That's cool. Let me think here, man. We got so much because we ain't even gotten to the other stuff that we got to talk about with you. But at some point, because we want to know, and there's a story that goes along with that too. At what point did you lose interest, or did you lose interest in motorcycles?
I've never lost interest in motorcycles. I met my husband. I was at work in Afghanistan, and yeah, my husband that I'm married to now, he had inboxed me, let me know he wanted to date me. He wanted to start seeing me.
So he got into the DM. He
He
jumped
wanted to
into the
court.
DM.
He wanted to court you.
He wanted to court. He jumped in, and
He
y'all,
jumped in the DM.
I said, "Boy, I'm at work in Afghanistan, And he was like, "Well, if you ever come back, home to the United States, you don't mind, I'd like to take you out on a date." So I said, "Okay, if I ever come back home, I'll let you know." So yeah, I ended up coming back home. And I'm gonna tell y'all this. At the time, I had two motorcycles sitting at home when I got home. And so just in our courtship, uh, I wanted my husband to learn how to ride a motorcycle. And my big idea was that I was going to teach him. And one day he just let me know, basically, baby, that's you. He said, now I'll support you. I'll ride behind you in the car wherever you want me to go with you. He said, but baby, I don't want to learn how to ride a motorcycle like that. So y'all, I'm not gonna lie. I kept saying, yeah, you're gonna learn how to ride a motorcycle. Oh yeah, we're gonna have his and her, gonna have us some road glides. And back then y'all
Yeah.
freak them road glides had came back out. I said, oh no, I got to get me a his and her road glide. I'm my husband, I'm
Yeah.
gonna have. And y'all, one day God spoke to me. He said, Latricia, leave that motorcycle alone. Michael's gonna kill himself. No, I'm serious. God
He's
told me.
gonna.
God, Michael is gonna kill himself. He didn't say he was gonna hurt himself. God told
Yeah.
him to kill himself because that's not his love. That's not his interest. He would
Okay.
only because you're trying to talk him into it. And so God said, "What I want you to do, but what I want you to do is you sell them." So I was like, "God, sell my motorcycles?"
Sell your motorcycles.
Ooh.
I said, "Yeah,
Jeez.
sell them. I got something else for you to do. That chapter is over with." And y'all, I lie not. I married my husband, and within 6 months, I sold my last two motorcycles, and haven't had one since.
Jeez. Goodness gracious, man. I
Goodness.
mean, that's
Then,
that's the story.
Oh
then
yeah,
all the
yeah.
stuff you done did on them though, at the same time, it's like, what else?
But see, yeah, I'm gonna tell y'all something. One thing about and this is just the God's honest truth. When God starts working in your life and God starts directing you, God starts telling you wholeheartedly, this is what He's telling you to do. I've learned y'all to be obedient. I've learned to be obedient. So this was part of my walk in life, and I realized that the chapter with the motorcycles with the Harleys, it's over with.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm kind of speechless because I can't argue or question anything that got to do with the man up above.
That's right.
But man, woo,
Yeah.
that's a quiet one right there.
Yeah.
I can't say too much. That's a quiet
I
one.
I done been in situations where I get not frustrated, but need a break from the bike set. But I don't want a permanent. I don't want a permanent vacation away from the bike from the bike set. Because at one point I was showing up at some everything all out of town before a lot of people was even showing up and stuff like that. But then it just one year I just was like kind of like last year, basically a little bit. Last year was one of them. Well, I just fell back from the bike set a little bit. Just was just like trying to re-energize because it's definitely draining.
Well, that's like how I ended up meeting Pedro. I remember when Pedro came to Houston, and I remember you brought me an invitation to y'all annual, and
Yeah.
you was like, I mean, you was all on Facebook just telling people how you gonna personally bring them their
Oh yeah, I
invitations.
brought them invitation to
Uh,
y'all in y'all hand. That was
uh,
the bikers ball.
yeah, yeah, and I remember
Yeah,
you
that's
brought it to
bikers
I
ball.
and I got it from you. And so when I got there, I was really, really amazed because I was able to come back down here and tell people, how y'all did things up there so different.
Right.
Um, I mean, you had the two gentlemen to meet me on the interstate as I came into town, and I didn't worry about nothing the whole time I was there with y'all. It was just the camaraderie. I seen y'all do stuff. I'm just gonna say, Pedro, y'all did some stuff that year I ain't never seen done on the bike set.
Well, I try to be different.
Oh yeah, y'all
I try
were.
to bring some different, some different things to the bike set, some flyness. Then I rode in a drop Lincoln to get y'all trophies and plaques and whatever for the Legends Party.
Oh yeah, you sure
Yeah,
did.
I did.
Oh did.
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love the bike set though, but sometimes
I don't know. It's in me. It's in me.
Yeah, it's in me.
It's in me.
It's just sometimes I need me personally. I can deal with it a lot better if I'm away from it for a second. I can appreciate it more because I lose interest in a lot of things quick if it's not if it start getting boring or not so interesting to me. So I had to step away from it before I walk away from it.
But it's like now, I've had some invites to go to some different events, and because my husband has never been to a biker function, we just went to the Galveston bike rally, but again, we
Okay.
just watched the bikes go by. But I'm getting ready to, like, this year we're gonna go to some events, but I'm just going so I can introduce my husband to people, you know.
Okay.
Um, and I just want him to see what I was once a part of. But so I mean, this will be his first year, you know, actually going to some actual bike events. But
Okay.
he'll enjoy, you know, looking at the bikes. But the desire to ride, I don't have it anymore.
Now I
Mhm.
got it because I want to go to this question. Since you just said that, from Kat, she said, "Do you miss riding even if it's scooting around in the city, curb bumping? Seeing that you don't have a desire, do you miss it, or is it completely nothing to miss because you just completely gave it up?"
Um, I'm gonna actually say no. I don't miss it because I've done. God has blessed me to have experienced a lot of things while I was out there. So I don't miss it at all. I can say I had my share. I've done some stuff.
Yes, you have.
You- yeah, no, that's great. We got some comments in here, and we got some people that's chiming in. I see y'all. I can't name everybody. We got some YouTubers that's on here. Bolo, he's definitely checking in every week. Mr. Wright, we got Cat,
Cat.
that's chiming in from
Hello.
YouTube. We got Terry Jackson. He says she might not remember me, but I talked to her in Texas, and I met her in Detroit. Much love and respect. That's my guy, Tough
Tough
Terry.
Terry.
And I know
Yeah,
you meet a lot of people.
Yeah.
You
he came to the picnic. He was out there at the picnic when Pedro and them
Yeah.
escorted us out there in the Michigan out on the lake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember.
okay?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
chiming in, and he
That's Tough
definitely he
Terry.
talks about you from time to time. And I mean, it don't take much to leave an impression on the person. You know, especially when you were a person and people were watching your journey through social media, on Facebook, through your lives. Sometimes you just don't really realize how much inspiration and motivation you give someone with what you're doing, even though you're not even trying to do it for the people, you're doing it for yourself and doing what you enjoy. But they're looking at you and you're inspiring people every day, and you might not even realize um, what you're leaving behind. You know, a memory that you're leaving, a moment that you had that's real relatable to another individual. And it's people on here that's watching, and they're sitting there and they're saying, I remember watching her, or I
Yes.
remember seeing her. I remember this about this individual. And you being the person that you are, you might not even realize how many different people you touched, you know. And I'm sure you had people that walk up to you and tell you stories. And I know that you're doing what you do because, or doing what you did because you like it. It's your passion. But when you hear stories of inspiration and people being inspired by you, how does that make you feel? What does that do to you?
It actually, well, you know, when you realize that I'm a purpose driven woman, okay? It's no accident that I get up and do stuff. It's intentional. Um, but I can say this, you know, it's been through my journey in life that you know, I'm a survivor. I've survived through a lot of stuff. And the truth is that motorcycle helped me a lot of days. You know, to make it through some stuff. And most people, yeah, you see us on the bike set, yeah, we smiling, we looking good, we got our, Harley outfits on. But mentally up here in this head, what's really going on with her?
Right.
What
Mm-hmm.
what battle is she fighting up there? I don't see her battling any fights out here, but what is she really battling? So I just want to say this, I've used the different uh how people have come up to me, let me know how I've encouraged them and whatnot by and y'all, I used to have a topic I used to talk about once a week. I used to just bring up a topic and we talk about it. um and by the way, yeah, I am a life coach, so I would bring up topics that some people were scared to talk about. I've often let people know that, for instance, I'm a survivor of a molestation. I was molested in the third grade by my cousin.
Mm.
And yeah, this is something I hid for a long time. And let me just say this real quick. I hid it for a long time because, y'all, at the time when I realized what he did and how wrong it was, I knew if I told my daddy was gonna kill my mama, because my mama had allowed us to go to my aunt's house. And my dad's rule was we weren't to go to nobody's house.
Okay.
As children, my dad, we were never unsupervised. But the day that this happened, I remember my mom took us to my aunt's house, and it was about 8 kids there at the house at the time when it happened. And so, yeah, as a child, here I'm in the third, fourth grade. I didn't carry this secret all these years. And so, yeah, my first time talking about it, I was in a bomb attack in Afghanistan in 2011 while I was at work. And when I came home and made it through that, first thing, y'all, when I came home, they put me straight in a psych ward. So and
Hold
this is
on.
gonna be,
Pause. They put you in a psych ward.
yeah, I came home and was put straight in a psychiatric hospital. Let me tell you why.
Okay.
Just the trauma of going through a bomb attack. They were trying to get my mind back to a place of, because, yeah, I used to would cry and didn't know why I was crying. Tears would just fall down my eyes, come down my eyes, and it was part of the trauma of being in that bomb attack. Just the mere shock that my body went through. I used to would cry, and it was just uncontrollable, and I wouldn't even know why I'm crying. So, but anyway, when I first came home, they sent me there, and I was like, but my back hurt, and they was like, no, we're not treating you for no physical injuries right now. We got to mentally get you back straight. So, I can remember, y'all, the first time I was in the psych hospital. It was my first time um, letting the doctors know that I'd been molested in the third grade.
Mm.
um that was my chance to talk about surviving domestic violence. I've had two boyfriends to try to kill me. um I have an 8-inch scar underneath my elbow right here, and it's because just trying to fight to live. um so I've used, y'all, that bike as my therapy to get through a lot of stuff that I've been through. Um, so between being molested in the third grade and, surviving two domestic violence situations, from two different husbands, just, the bomb attack in Afghanistan, it's just been a lot of stuff that, that motorcycle has helped me get through. There have been a lot of days, y'all, when I would get on my bike. mm, woo, and y'all, I would cry when it's raining. You know why? Because can't nobody see you crying when it's raining.
Right. You can hide your
Right.
tears.
So that was I remember I did that a lot. And I don't know how I programmed my body, but if I ever got caught in a storm, I knew I was gonna start crying. And yeah, it's just been a way of, again, of me just releasing a lot of hurt, a lot of pain, a lot of stuff that, we as humans have been through,
Right.
that people don't have a clue that you've had to fight through. So I used the bike for that.
No, I mean that's deep, and I mean I appreciate you for even sharing that, right now today, because again, everything that you say, everything that you do, is someone that's listening, and it's someone that's watching. You might get someone that can't relate. You might get someone that doesn't care. You might get someone that's not paying attention because it doesn't concern them. But then it's that small number of people that's out there listening, and it's like it's helping them deal with something that's very relatable to them. And then you being brave enough to speak on it, even though it happened many years ago, and you going to the psych ward and being able to um, freely, finally, release that, and going from releasing that to now being free to talk about it. How much of a relief was that to like get something that was like bottled, buried inside of you actually out? Um, how much of a relief really was it? And was it a relief to say, hey, I can freely express myself. I can talk about this stuff. I don't have to keep it in. How does it help heal you?
Well, it was and lavish. I have a book that matter of fact it's already been written. It's at the publisher now. I hadn't had it released yet because there was this last chapter that I was trying to wait to finish. And um after, like I said, this happened when I was about in the third grade. Well, this past summer, Texas City Police Department actually investigated um, my report of being molested. And they actually were able to go all the way back and get the doctor records um, of me being molested. But what the doctor didn't do, the doctor didn't take any DNA. And see, back then, see now, if you get raped or molested, there's a SANE nurse that's gonna come in. That's a sexual assault nurse,
Okay.
and they're gonna do examination on you. Well, back then, we talking about back, and this had to been happened to me. I think it was like in 1972 or 73. Um, she didn't do any of that. She just wrote in the report that I had been sexually molested. And she didn't even write my cousin's name in there, even though I told her what his name was. Um, so what they did was Texas City Police Department actually closed the investigation this summer. And they actually decided that they couldn't file the charges against my cousin just because there was no DNA taken from 1972.
Mm.
So this was the this was the last thing that I was really waiting to be able to hear them, let him know that he's going to get punished for what he did to me. And so anyway, after being able to tell this to the psychiatrist back in 2011, I continued to go to the psychiatrist. And y'all, I have a psychiatrist now that I frequent every 3 months. And again, it's part of my healing process. It's part of my healing process of being able to openly be able to know now that I'm carrying around no more guilt, no more shame. There's a lot of guilt and shame associated with any type of trauma as a child, especially children, that a child that's been molested. And
Right.
see, y'all, the difference between molested and being raped is, molestation comes from, uh, it happens to a child. So I was actually a child at the time when it happened. So I couldn't consent to it, even if somebody were to try to say I could. I had to been about in third or fourth grade. So, but anyway, this is like I said, it's something that my psychiatrist has helped me get through. That, and all the y'all, I'm trying to get this camera back right. Okay. That and all of the the other little things that I've had to deal with just in life.
Right.
But yeah, it was a big relief to be able to just tell it, because you realize, again, as a child, it's out of your control.
Now, is your cousin still living?
Yeah, he's still living.
And how's that
Well,
relationship with the family? Like, how does that work? Because these are some things that people they think about. I want to tell someone, but I can't, because I don't want my uncle might not believe me,
Yeah.
or if I tell them that, they're thinking I'm looking for attention and I'm making stuff up, or all the negative stuff that goes along with, hey, I have a truth that I need to share. So
right.
with you coming out being free and open to actually speak on that, how did the family respond? How did your family respond to you
Um,
saying that?
my cousins, they all were shocked when I first told them. But see, I'd already wrote it and put it in my book, so it was gonna be published for the world to see anyway.
Okay.
Um, my sister, she actually cried with me when I told her, and she actually told me about some times. She said, about some times she felt like my cousin was real creepy and he tried to feel on her breast. Um, and one of my other cousins, we've had a conversation too, and she was saying that she's always felt like he was that creepy cousin. So I'm just gonna say this: it drew a wedge. I never told my daddy. That was the only thing that I hated that I didn't tell. I really hated that I didn't tell my daddy. My mama knew, but my mama made me not tell my daddy.
Mm.
Yeah, my mama, she knew. And I can remember telling my mama that day at the doctor's office. I said, well, I'm going to tell my daddy. I'm going to tell my daddy. And mama said, girl, you can't tell your daddy that. You better not tell your daddy that. And I said, well, the doctor said it was wrong. I got to tell my daddy. And I remember my mama saying, you can't tell your daddy that. And so, yeah, I held on to that. I held on to, that shame for all those years. And like I say, the day that I was able to tell the my doctor, it was just this woo-saw moment. Like, I don't have to hide. And y'all, it's been since 2011, I'm free. I'm free.
No, as you should be. I
Yeah,
mean, I'm glad you're working on, your
I
your
have no
healing.
I have no secrets in my life. And if I could share this with anybody, that's one of the best things you can do for yourself, is to know that you're free. Know that you're free of anything that has been uh any type of trauma or anything that's been done to you. You can be free of it, especially if something happened to you and you were a child. There are some things
Mm-hmm.
that have happened even as adults that you can free yourself from. You don't have to carry around guilt, shame, pity. You don't have to carry this stuff around. And so anyway, it's and there's a lot of help out there. I don't know, who this might help, but there's somebody you can talk to. And there's always that one family member that's gonna be like, but that's gonna bring
Mm-hmm.
division in the, you know, uh but the thing about it is, that hurt and that pain, that's the only way you're gonna be able to let it go. You got to talk about it.
Definitely, definitely. I definitely agree with you with that. I
Yeah.
it's I went through something like that though. But I was I don't know, was it some male type shit or something was going on? I was molested too by two females when I was
Okay.
younger. I was about maybe like 9 to 10, but I was so when it happened a couple of times, maybe like 5, 10 times or something. So I didn't even realize that I was molested because I was so male Oh yeah, yeah, it happened. I had two of them at the same time. I was on that until one day I just was thinking. I was like, because I never told my mother nothing. And one day, one day, seriously, one day I just was thinking. I was like, wait a minute. This after I got grown and mature. I was like, wait a minute.
Oh yeah.
That shit wasn't funny. I was molested. I was
Yep.
molested. Yeah, so
Yep.
I definitely can relate to that shit though, for real.
Oh, it's and
Yeah,
as being an adult now, just
yeah,
learn
I
to
did.
stuff that we've been through,
So yeah,
and yeah,
I don't think I told my mother. So I was in my 30s.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm only 35 now, but
it's never too late to tell.
still. Yeah. I
Always,
told her. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm
But yeah, yeah. So
I'm definitely hit, man. And then you speak on um domestic violence. And I get what you say about the motorcycle stuff, as far as, a lot of things that you done went through, and how it's an outlet for you to be free. I mean, even if you on that highway, or when you're on that highway and you're riding in that moment, just to have no care in the world, the wind hitting your face, and for you to be free from all of these issues and these problems. And it's funny because, like, right now you're touching on some stuff that people that know you close, they probably already heard you share this. But then you also got individuals that's on here that's listening, who's watched you but not listened to your whole journey, and they're like, wow, I
yes,
never knew.
right.
I probably would not have ever known this, because a lot of people, they suppress a lot of feelings. They hide things very well. A lot of people
oh,
hide things with a smile every day,
oh yeah,
and we'll never see it, and we never know it. And there's people out here that we ride with in bike clubs, independent riders, just people that's out here enjoying the life of motorcycling. And when they go home, their life sucks. They got all types of problems, mental illnesses, because
yeah,
mental illness is real. Complications, frustrations. They're being abused, or
yep,
you have people that's smiling and slapping hands with you, and they're going home doing a lot of the abusing. You
yep.
know, so I just feel like you opened up a lot, and I'm hoping that somebody that's listening can feel comfortable enough to say, well, if she can do it and she can share her journey, then maybe I can. And let's speak on seeing a psychologist. Let's speak on that. There's nothing wrong with a person seeing a psychologist. I
Correct.
feel like you might be able to learn something more about yourself that you didn't even know, coming from an outside person whose job is just to analyze everything that you share and make you feel comfortable enough to share these thoughts, to get down to where the problem could have came from. um
Right.
what would you give if someone asked you, hey, Sunshine, what do you think about me going to see a psychologist? Do you think I really need to go see a shrink?
I'm an advocate for having a psychotherapist on your team. Oftentimes we have our PCPs. Everybody got a PCP. Yeah, but you need that one person that you can channel in. Just go sit on the couch. They over there sitting on that old dirty chair, and y'all just sitting back, and it's just an open session. Now I'm gonna say this. There are different types of psychologists that you can go to. They're just a general therapist. Then there's a psychiatrist that you can go to, and then there's a psychotherapist that you can go to. Now one of them can give you medicine, the other one can't. But it doesn't matter which one you choose to go to. Um, it's nothing wrong. Like I say, I'm an advocate. To me, you need everybody. You need an outside source to just share some of your thoughts with sometimes. I've actually had in my lifetime now, I've had 3 different uh tests taken just to kind of get what my diagnosis is. So I've actually been diagnosed by a psychiatrist. Um, and it helps because sometimes there are some things that some people do and they don't understand why they do it. Or there are some thoughts that some people have and they don't understand why they're having those thoughts. Um, Now it can get kind of deep because oftentimes we do things and you'll say it's because of something else when it could possibly be something that happened way, way, way back.
Okay. And you don't even realize it. Certain triggers.
Right, right.
Okay. Okay. So, people that's listening, I think that it's safe to say it's okay if you feel that you need to go see someone for professional help, and nothing might not even be wrong with you that you can see, but you just might need a release.
Hmm.
um it might help, and I don't want to, and I'm going to ask you this. I don't want you to take it the wrong way, and I don't want to offend you when I say this, because a lot of times people go through things and we don't see it until it's too late. At any point in time, have you ever considered suicide?
Let me answer that in 2 parts. One, yes. The second part, no, because I didn't want to hurt myself. I didn't want to feel the pain. I wanted to commit the act, but I didn't want to feel the pain.
Okay. Okay. And the reason I brought that up, listening to you, I've had people that I personally knew, and sometimes you don't even know that you're an outlet for them. And by me sitting in the tow truck driving around all day, I have time to just sit on the phone, and I have time to let people vent and talk and share their thoughts. But then sometimes you don't really know what these people are really thinking about outside of what they're sharing with you. And I personally had a few different people who committed suicide, and I didn't know
It
that they really had,
Cause you
it was
talking
it
to
was
them,
it was
right?
more underlining problems that they had, and they were sharing it with me. But it's sometimes you don't really catch on to everything because you feel like they just needed somebody to talk to today. And this, and I had a guy, he was supposed to have been working for me. He did all this paperwork for me. He got everything together. Talked to this person, talked to that person, and we were communicating and everything. And then I'm filling out the stuff and I'm calling him. And he's not answering. And I'm calling him. And I'm like, I wonder where he's at. His phone got cut off. I'm reaching out and I'm like, man, where's this dude at, man? And his mother called me from his Facebook account.
Mm.
So when I answer the phone, I'm not knowing what to expect. I'm thinking it's him. I'm like, dude, where you been at, man? I've been looking for you. And it's a lady. And I'm like, oh, hey, what's up? I don't want to say his name. However, she was like, hey, I was reaching out. Did you hear about so and so? And the first thing in my mind, I was like, nope. What he did, what he done did, what happened? And she's like, so you don't know? And I'm like, not knowing what to expect. And she told me that he hung himself.
Mm.
And she's telling me everything about me that he shared to her. And as she's telling me this, I think the next day I'm replaying all of this different stuff back in my head of these conversations. of these thoughts and these feelings. And sometimes you be sitting there almost wanting to blame yourself because you like, man, he was telling me stuff, but not to the point of I would think that this would happen.
Right.
So I say that because you just never know what's going on in the person's mind. Lately you know the suicide rate has been inclining.
Oh yeah. My first time dealing with suicide, and this is gonna be a twist to you. I only have one daughter, y'all. Her name is Tia. My daughter's father killed himself in 1995 when she was just 5 years old. So I can actually say I dealt with having to take my daughter to her therapy sessions to deal with the death of her dad through suicide. And so I'm gonna say this, Lavish, when you just asked me a while ago, have I ever thought about suicide? And I honestly answered you yes. And it was twofold because I said, yes, I've thought about it, but I didn't want to go through the pain part of it. And then God also told me, Latricia, how selfish of that. I mean, how selfish of you would that be? Tia done already lost her dad to suicide. And then you turn around and kill yourself to suicide too. So it's it's something to deal with, to actually um I used to have to always remind my daughter, I can only be your mama. I can't ever be your daddy. And growing up, she would always have, the little girls, their daddies would drop them off here, or the daddy daughter dance, and all this kind of stuff. And my daughter would just scream some Saturdays, Trisha, Mama, why my daddy killed himself? Why my daddy had to leave? Why my daddy did this? Why my daddy did that? So again, just during all the time when I was, experiencing all this hurt and all this stuff myself, and that moment that I did think about killing myself, you know, that was one of the thoughts. I can't let my daughter be exposed to this again.
No,
I mean, who
absolutely.
grow up and say both of your parents committed suicide? That's not fair. And so anyway, it's been, like I said, it's been part of my therapy, just to. And we often sit up and say, "Oh God, thank you for letting me make it through that. God, thank you for letting me make it." But I'm going to actually say this. I'm so thankful, y'all, on so many realms, for God giving me a second chance at a lot of stuff, especially on that particular day when I was ready to leave here.
No, I'm glad he did. I'm glad he did. I'm glad that everything worked out the way it did, in the way that it was meant to be, so that you
Oh,
can be
yeah.
here today to share your story and your journey to everybody.
Yep.
I mean, I expected a great show, but we went deep. we went deep, but I'm glad, man, because we gotta uplift people. I mean, everything within the bike world and just life in general is not always what we see from the outside view when we look at somebody else's life. We don't see that. We don't see those struggles.
You don't see the struggles, the pain.
Right.
Everything that a person deals with when they come out and they face you, when they got a smile on their face, when a lot of people is telling everybody it's gonna be it's okay. I'm fine, but dying inside.
Right.
Yep.
Dying inside. Some people look like they're living good, but then they
Yeah.
going home and they really struggling, trying to like figure it out.
Yep.
And the sad part about it in life is that we live in a world right now where most people are afraid to ask. They're afraid to ask somebody for some type of help because you got to worry about the backlash.
Yep.
You got to worry about being belittled. And then
Mhm.
that's worse. That makes you want to go jump off a bridge right then and there. Not laughing, but that whole thing of, I really don't want to come to you for help. But then when I do come to you for help, it's like I really, really need help.
Right.
And I'm getting this door slammed in my face and I'm getting laughed at. I'm getting ridiculed for that. So and that's another way to make a person tick in a different direction. I'm just, I'm just saying. I mean, we laugh and we joke about a lot of stuff. We see stuff, but at the end of the day, people are actually having real life struggles. And
Yeah.
just because they're not really showing it, and then there's no way to really show it. Because I was about to say, because they're not showing their struggles, how do you show it?
Right.
How do you really show it? So, wow, that's that's deep, Sunshine.
Oh yeah, you and it's for any of your listeners that's listening right now. If you find yourself in a predicament, uh, they're all they're not just you can go to any entity, and they'll direct you. They'll get you set up with who you need to be seen by. Uh, Usually you can go straight to your emergency room, and your emergency room they have access the to a psychiatrist. Matter of fact, all emergency rooms have a psychiatrist on duty. So even if you find yourself, feeling the cares of the world have really, weighing you down and you need somebody to talk to, you can always go to your emergency room.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Y'all make sure y'all remember that as well. Dang, Sunshine, you took a lot of words out of my mouth. You took you took a lot of words out of my mouth right
Ladies
now.
and gentlemen, the great, legendary,
goodness gracious,
Sunshine Rogers.
Yeah, man. Listen, it's been almost an hour and a half. It's been really fast. It flew by. It was informative. More people, they're hearing it from you, about you. And it's probably making people think like, wow. And I'm just going to keep saying that because even though we chatted and we talked, it was like, wow. Yes. And I remember different posts that you posted over the years of things, but then when you get on here and you get on the podcast and you sum everything up and as one and you put it out there, it's like, wow. Because I've been watching you for some years. I've been watching you for some years, and I've met you through just the bike community, from a lot of stuff that you've done, from the rides, and then as well as other people within the bike world, man, and we all connect, and it's like we learn so much from each other, especially when you see somebody from afar and then you actually get a chance to have a conversation with them. Right. It's like, what you thought of them, it might change. When you see a person and you actually can talk to them, you learn so much more than your assumption or the typical stereotype or whatnot. It's amazing. It's amazing. And when we talk about like motorcycles and motorcycle riding and clubs, and I'm so glad to have you on here because the bike world, they have such a bad stereotype when it comes down to non-bikers. They don't think that we're human, that is great men and women out here that ride bikes, not knowing that this is a hobby, this is a passion, this is something that we enjoy. It's no different than a person enjoying smoking cigars or playing golf. This is a lifestyle that we enjoy. And when they hear people, when I say they, I'm speaking on non-bikers, when they hear a story like you, I'm hoping that it kind of redirects their train of thoughts when they think of bikers and they think of people that ride motorcycles, to feel and say, hey, they're just as human as we are. They just do something a little different. Because, bikers have a certain style, different bikers. You have some of the cleanest bikers that dress for a biker style, and the biker style is dingy, all black, you know, and they think that that's their life.
Yeah.
Some of them that's their life, but then you have others that's just how they dress when they're in that field. And hearing it, hearing just different stories from you, I'm just hoping that they can kind of curve the way that they think about bikers when they see bikers to treat them and look at them as everyday people, humans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They go through the same ups and downs as everybody else. Quit looking at them as, hey, they're a big biker gang up to no good, because a lot of men and women, they work.
Oh
Nurses,
yeah.
doctors, lawyers,
Truck drivers,
truck drivers, all types of different entrepreneurs. All types of different entrepreneurs and everything like that. So, that's cool, man. We
And
got
most of us, we all give back, in some shape or form too. Back to your
Definitely.
community, back to society. Um, yeah, I had a chicken drive. I used to give out chicken the first Wednesday of every month to some homeless people. I collected bicycles for Christmas. I did that for 17 years and gave out bicycles through the children that were in CPS custody.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, we as bikers, y'all, we just do a lot. We do a lot.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Absolutely.
We got more people in here. We got actually Sunshine. I don't know if you can see the comments at the bottom of your screen or whatnot, but we got Highway Smiley. He's been chiming in, watching the
Highway
podcast,
Smiley.
It's my
as well.
Mr. 48 himself.
Yeah, he's been on there. Bolo, we got Jay Boogie, Jabina, she's
Jay Boogie.
chiming in. Dunn White Chocolate, she's chiming in on here. Let me go over here and see the Facebook people, because not all the time I can see their names, but we got Steve. He's in here. Cuddy, Dream Team.
Yolanda
We got
and
Quiet Storm.
Quiet Storm.
She's
I
definitely
said, yo,
checking in.
Yolanda Campbell.
Yeah, she's definitely checking up in here, man. Let me see. We got Low out of Texas in there. We got Wise Angel, Mr. Wright. We got
Queen
Darius
Angel.
Marshall. Yeah, okay, yeah. Tamika Wade. Yeah, I'm just going down here. Chris Houston. We got my guy Youngin out of Ann Arbor chiming in on here. So I just want to give a shout out to all the people that's actually on the show, watching, chiming in, paying attention. I appreciate that, as I do every week, man. I appreciate y'all for tuning in, because I really couldn't do this without y'all, and I'm glad that y'all taking y'all time to listen to Sunshine Rogers' story and journey.
Yes.
It's one of a kind. We got Skunk, Rare Breed, Miss T from the Rare Angels. What's happening? Yvette, what's going on? So, yeah, I wanted, definitely, as I say, man, give a shout out to y'all, man, for constantly checking this out. And if you haven't already done it, make sure you go to the YouTube page. Make sure you go to the Instagram page, Lavish T Williams. That's my social media handles. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe to those, as I always, drop content. Let's see. Okay. Oh wow, I didn't even see this because it didn't came. Quiet Storm said, "I get it. After you've done so much, you have to move on. It's a part of life." Cuddy say he got a question, and I'm just seeing this because it don't always come through the way that you send it. But it says, "Do you experience any shell shock now?" And thank God you pulled through.
The answer is yes. Again, it's part of my therapy. Um, Even like the bus that I was driving that day, when I see those buses here in the United States, I mean, that's another trigger right there. Um, like when people be shooting guns and stuff for the 4th of July, see, I don't like all that kind of stuff. Um, they're just they're all kind of triggers. And see, y'all, the day that that bomb went off, I remember I hit my head and my face in the corner of this door casing. And y'all, when I jumped up, just that split second, I remember begging God, God, please don't let me die. God, please don't let me die. God, you said you was gonna let me do this. God, you said you was gonna let me do that. So yeah, I still experience a lot of it. And again, it's one of the things again up here in this brain of ours that we
Hmm.
learn to deal with every day.
Yep.
Now there's
Exactly.
sometimes there are smells. I can smell somebody can burn rubber, a tire from a from somebody, like how some of the motorcycles be doing them burnouts.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Some some of that burnout, it'll smell like that bomb from Afghanistan to me. Um, so yeah, it's stuff that I deal with every day. But I'm just gonna say it again. It's part of the journey. It's part of my growth. Um, you know, knowing that you can make it through anything and everything that we've been through.
Yeah, absolutely. You
Absolutely.
you
Let's
definitely
say
got a
that
story to
again.
tell, and you didn't experience some stuff out here, and able to share it. Share so freely. I don't think I know too many people outside of military personnel that can experience or can share. Being bombed. Being a part of an explosion, or some stuff like that. That's pretty deep.
Yeah, I have a spinal cord stimulator implanted just to I had it implanted back in 2013 to try to absorb some of the pain. I've had 3 back surgeries, um, all from the bomb attack. So again, y'all, I rode my motorcycle for therapy. I'm telling y'all, when I tell y'all, it was just a way of just letting everything that I done been through in life just absorb in that highway.
No, I,
Mm.
I I get it, man.
Mm.
I get it. I get it. I definitely get it, man. That motorcycle, it could be a lifesaver to some.
Motorcycle
Oh,
therapy.
It could
oh,
definitely be a lifesaver to some.
oh yeah,
Again, you don't know what a person's going through. You don't know what that motorcycle means to a person. That freedom, that ride, that open road is more than just fun for some. It's
yeah,
enjoyable, but it's more than
It's more
just
than that. It's
it's
more than
more
that.
than just fun.
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Shoot,
Release.
sunshine. I ain't gonna keep you no longer. It's been going on
Ladies
a
and
little
gentlemen,
over an hour and a half, but
the legendary
this been good.
Sunshine Rogers.
Hey, y'all, I appreciate y'all too. I
We
appreciate the
thank
invite.
you.
Nothing but love and respect always.
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing but love and respect your way. You keep doing what you do. You keep enjoying living life.
Yeah,
It would be nice if I could see you on one of those nice fine bikes. I just figured I'd throw that out there.
don't see me on.
Yeah.
I know. So when you go out this year, because you said, and I know I'm going back on what you already said, you're going out introducing your husband to a lot of the things that you're doing. Now, is this because it's healthy for you to do as another stress reliever? Is it something that you plan on doing just to help him understand a little bit more about who you are? What is your, if it's a reason for you going out and taking them out now? Is it because you kind of want to be out in that environment, even if you're not riding, because you just miss the camaraderie, the people, the bonds?
Yeah, that and it's mainly it. It's just the bonds. I miss a lot of them. Just driving up. It's nothing like you done rode into California and you got you pull up and it's that whole California crew. And I'm gonna say this, y'all. People on the East Coast, they act totally different than people on the West Coast. People up north act totally different than people down in the South. So it's a feeling like no other to pull up and people acknowledge you. And you're just as happy to be there as they are to have you there.
Right.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
Yeah.
doubt, definitely,
Yeah. Yeah.
definitely. Who would you say get the got the most hospitality from the Four Corners?
I'm gonna have to say when I went to Cali, every time I've been to Cali, it's been nothing but uh because I've been to Cali more than I'd have been everywhere else. Let me just say it that way.
Okay.
Um they I like the way. I mean, it was just we partied in this big old park. It was just y'all used bikes for days. I mean, I'm talking about it was just that many people out in this park, and the park was kind of like up in a mountain. It was one of rare breed
Rare breed.
weekends. Uh, yeah, so I that's one of my most memorable. Uh, it was just how so many people were there, and I was like, all these people here, ain't nobody fighting, ain't nobody cuss nobody out.
None of that. None of that.
It was good adult fun.
Fun.
Oh man, that's cool.
Fun
That's
and
that's
hospitality
that's
on
definitely
1000.
cool, man. I just wanted to ask that, man. Listen up, everybody. We're gonna go ahead and end this podcast. Sunshine Rogers, I
Sunshine
appreciate you.
Rogers.
Thank you.
We love you.
I enjoyed you. I'm hoping everybody else out there, I'm hoping that y'all enjoyed this podcast. I'm hoping that y'all enjoyed this show. I'm hoping that y'all got something from it. It's okay to be free. It's okay to share your thoughts. It's okay to be open. Get it all out your chest. Get it out your system. Be free within. Don't let it kill you inside.
Right.
Don't bury it inside.
Right.
Release it out or whatnot. So, yeah, I thank everybody for tuning in to the podcast, man. Y'all be easy. Y'all be safe. Y'all take care. Enjoy. I'll catch y'all next week on the Lavish Biker Podcast. And again, Sunshine, I appreciate you for taking your time out. I appreciate you for sharing your thoughts and everything. And I was gonna curb the questions a little bit. I wanted you to be free, but I didn't want you to start crying. You might have made me shed a small tear. But those are your true emotions and your feelings, and it's okay to open up and let them come out. It's okay.
And see, that's something else. Us.
Yep.
Sometimes you gotta release. It can't stay in. You gotta let it out.
That's right. You gotta let it out.
That's right.
All right, now we got, man, they chiming in, and and they comment, and a lot of people, man, they are gracious and thankful for you being on here and all the stuff that you said. I mean, I'm sure that you inspired a lot of different people on here. I'm sure that people that's listening, they are looking at you in a different way, in an uplifting way, from the things that you done shared to us, man. So you have been a joy to have on the show today. So
All right.
I'm going to go ahead and end this show, man. So everybody, man, thank you for tuning in. And
Okay.
we are out of here.
All right. I love y'all.
You've been listening to the Lavish Biker Podcast with your hosts, Lavish T. Williams and Pedro, the dopest podcast in the nation. We want to thank you for hanging out with us, and make sure to add, like, follow, and subscribe at Lavish T. Williams on all social and streaming platforms. We'll see you next time on the Lavish Biker Podcast.